The motion is that Senate Bill 382 become law, notwithstanding the objections of the governor.
Destroys the will of the voters. It's voter suppression.
Mr. President.
Senator Heiss.
It's disruptive and out of order to the legislative process. Please.
She's being removed. Clear the gallery. Just clear the gallery. Everybody's got to go. Everybody's got to go. Clear the gallery.
Mr.
Not going to be tolerated.
Mr. President, you can't clear the whole gallery. A lot of the people here are being respectful and here to see what's happening. This is the people's house. Should not clear the whole gallery. It's undemocratic.
Okay, a bit of chaos there in North Carolina in the state Senate yesterday as protests erupted. You heard one voice there, maybe a few others, after the Republican-controlled body voted to override a veto from outgoing Democratic Governor Roy Cooper. Now, the bill in question includes some relief for those impacted by Hurricane Helene, but it mainly takes power away from the next governor, who is also a Democrat. Critics are calling it a blatant power grab by Republicans in the state. You heard the person screaming there. And North Carolina's Democratic Governor Roy Cooper joins us now. Thank you very much for coming on the show this morning. Can you explain this bill, what's going on here, and how power would be taken away from the incoming governor?
Well, I understand why the people in the gallery are mad. The people of North Carolina are mad. We've just experienced the most devastating and deadliest storm that North Carolina has ever had. We're making progress. We've opened more than 900 roads that were closed, opened schools, fixed water systems, gotten people into temporary shelters, and we're all working to get the billions of dollars it's going to take to recover. I led a Western delegation to Washington, met with the president in the Oval Office, went to Capitol Hill. But it was now time for our state legislators to step up and provide that relief that is so desperately needed. They didn't do it. In fact, they called this a disaster relief bill, but really all they did was move money from one fund to another in Raleigh. And then they actually took money away from Western North Carolina by removing a power of the governor that I just used to enhance unemployment benefits for employees who had lost their jobs as a result of this storm. And so they used disaster relief, which they didn't do, as a fig leaf to grab power. And it's important to note that, yes, we lost at the top of the ticket like the other swing states. But in North Carolina, we elected a Democratic governor, lieutenant governor, attorney general, secretary of state, superintendent of public schools, the only Supreme Court justice that was up. We won the only swing congressional seat that was left after their partisan gerrymandering. We won that, and we also broke the supermajority in the state legislature. But what do as a lame duck gerrymandered legislature? They passed this sham of a bill that takes away power from these elected officials that the people of North Carolina just elected, moved it to themselves, and ignored the people in Western North Carolina. A lot of Western legislators are mad at this. 3 of them didn't vote for this bill. If I were a Western legislator of either party, I would be furious that they didn't do anything of substance to help Western North Carolina and use this legislation as a mask. I mean, they've gotten the media to talk about this bill providing disaster relief. It really doesn't. It doesn't. It moves money around, and it ends up hurting Western North Carolina. A lot of frustration right now, but we still got an opportunity on December the 11th to try and uphold this veto, even though we're facing a supermajority. There are a number of Western delegation Republicans who understand what this legislation does to the people they represent, I hope they stand up and do the right thing.
So, Governor, as you say, the incoming governor is the Attorney General, who kind of followed your path from the Attorney General's office to the governor's mansion, Josh Stein. He won by an overwhelming margin in the governor's race, but this bill would take some of his power away. Can you just explain a little bit more specifically and practically how it does that, how it takes power away from Democratic leadership in the state, and why it's so outrageous to you and a lot of other people?
The biggest issue is the State Board of Elections. For decades, under Democratic and Republican governors, our system has worked well and has conducted fair and secure elections. The governor appoints a majority of his or her party to serve on the Board of Elections. From day one, they have been trying to change this and get the power to themselves. And we were able to stop it through my veto, through the courts, and even by the people of North Carolina in an overwhelming vote when they tried to change the Constitution. Here they are trying to change it again, making sure that Republicans can run elections in North Carolina when they have been run fairly in a bipartisan way by governors for decades. That's a big thing. Another example is taking the Highway Patrol, which is an important law enforcement agency, statewide agency, away from the governor's cabinet position, making the Highway Patrol independent, and they themselves, the legislature, appointing the commander of the Highway Patrol instead of the governor. These are the kinds of things that they have done over the years using their supermajority status, which they have gained by using the most technologically diabolical partisan gerrymandering in the history of the country. North Carolina is the worst. We're down 3 members of Congress simply because of their gerrymandering. When we had court-ordered fair districts in North Carolina, it was 7-7. This time it's 10-4, and we barely held on to that 4th seat, winning that seat that was a swing seat. But this is the heart of the problem, and one of the reasons why Congress is so dysfunctional is the gerrymandered districts that are so blue and so red, so few purple districts, with people having incentive to find compromise, to find ways forward.
Governor, Sam Stein here. You're obviously an outgoing governor. This might be your final battle in the governor's chair, but there's also been a lot of speculation, as you know, about what comes next for you. Thom Tillis, current senator, is up for election in 2026. Your name has been discussed as a potential nominee. Where is your head at with regards to that race?
Everything is on the table for me in the future. I'm going to run through the tape. Western North Carolina has taken up most of my time and my priority. There are a lot of issues here at the end of the term that you have to deal with. And so I'm going to run through the tape. I'm going to take some time and decide where I can have my best use. I have enjoyed public service. We've accomplished a lot in North Carolina with Medicaid expansion, with clean energy. We are moving forward in an economy in our state where we've got better paying jobs for people. I'm excited about that, but I'm not going to make any decisions soon. But obviously, everything is on the table right now for me.
Democratic Governor Roy Cooper of North Carolina, thank you very much for coming on the show this morning. We really appreciate it.